Hello everyone and welcome back to my channel. If you haven't subscribed, kindly do so. So today we are going to be learning how to make this stylish skirt with side loops just like you can see. So let's get on with it. The materials I'll be using to make this skirt just includes my pin, my matching thread, my chalk, my scissors, my tape rule, and also 1 yard of fabric. I also went ahead to use 3 yards of bias, but that wasn't enough. So do make sure that you have at least 5 yards to be sure to create that long loop that you can see. But I just had to just play with my creativity. The first thing I'll go ahead to do, guys, is just to fold my fabric into four because I'm going to be cutting the front and the back pieces together. Now, guys, after folding into four, you do well to make sure that like your hip plus allowances will be able to go from one side to the other end, like the width. After confirming that, I'll just take 1 inch away from the top area to start as my starting point, as that place isn't even. After that, I'll just go ahead to subtract 2 inches to take my full length measurement and also add 1.5 inches as folding allowance. I'll just mark it all through. After doing that, I'll just go ahead to take my waist measurement and add 4 inches for stitching allowance and mark it at that point. The next I went ahead to do was to subtract 2 inches for the band, and then from that point I just measured 8 inches down to serve as my hip length. So from that point, I'll just be going to take my round hip measurement. So I added 4 inches and divided by 4, and I'll just be marking it at that point there. And then I'll just go out at the waist region by 1 inch to serve as my dart allowance, and then I'll just connect these 2 points together. I'll do where to place my tape rule at the hip region, and I have 10.5 and subtracted by 2 I have 8.5. I'll just measure 8.5 at the lower part of this skirt. I'll just slope it in to reach the hip region. I then went ahead to measure 1 inch for my zipper allowance, and I'll just cut this. I'll just go ahead to just open it up. So these are my front and my back pieces respectively. So I'll go ahead to take my dart for the back by subtracting 1 inch for the zipper allowance, and then going in by 3.5 inch, and then going down by 4 inch. So I'll mark this measurement for the both sides, and that will be all for the back piece for now. So guys, let's work on the more technical aspect of this skirt. So you know that our front is in a fold, and I'll just be going as if I want to measure my dart, and my dart is 7, which is divided by 2 is 3.5, but I'll be adding extra half an inch so that when I cut out this piece I'll be able to have half an inch to stitch it back. So I'll just measure 4 inch all through. After marking the 4 inch, I'll just be making sure I have 4 inch all through. At this point, I'm going to be determining how wide I want this X area to be. That is the place that is going to have this loop, and I'm going to cut out this area. So I want mine to be 2.5, but then I measured 3 inches plus extra half an inch allowance all through. So guys, after measuring that point, I'll just be going out by half an inch all through, and this is to serve as our joining allowance to join that mid piece that will be cutting out very soon. So if you are confused, you can just go back and watch and understand what I've just explained. After all measurements has been taken, I'll just I did not cut out the allowance, and this is what I have. So guys, I'll go ahead to slope this area later on, and that'll be all for now. So now let's work on the other two pieces. So now I'll do well to just open it up just like you can see, and I'll just use my tape rule to measure it. So I have 2.5 inch wide here, and now I need half an inch on both sides to be able to join it back to the skirt. So now instead of 2.5 inch, I'm going to be cutting a 3.5 inch wide strip. And cutting half an inch on both sides. I have 3.5 inches, and I'll just do well to open it up. I will keep that piece for later, and this is now what we'll be working with. This 3.5 inch will be used for joining. So now remember our earlier and our original 2.5 inch. I'll just be folding it like so, and I'll just go ahead to iron it to form like a fat kind of bias that I'll be using to create my channels. So guys, remember that I added 1.5 inch for my full length measurement. I'll be using half an inch to join the waist area to the band, and I'll just be using 1 inch to fold the lower part. So I'll just go after, I'll just place it and fold it at 1 inch, and then I'll use my pressing iron to just get that point. Now if you know that you'll be using lining for this type of skirt, don't worry about this place. But if you know you're not using lining, kindly do decide to be enable your work to be easier. This is what the channels are looking like after ironing. For the lower part of this skirt, after ironing, this is also what I have, and I'll just go ahead to just stitch down everything together. After stitching, guys, I'll just go ahead to arrange each piece accordingly. So guys, let's work on the middle piece first, and I'll just be taking my measurement and I'll just subtract half an inch for my band allowance. So from that half an inch area downwards, that is where our channels are going to be placed. Now I advise that when you are marking where you are going to place your channels, make sure that you fold that middle piece in two. Don't do what I did, because it actually gave me a tough time to like make sure that both of them are equal. So do well to fold it in two before you take that measurement. So now as you can see me do, I'm just marking it vertically down. So I'm just, this is half an inch, whereby, yes, so remember that we added half an inch earlier for our stitching allowance. So I'll just be marking half an inch. This is where I'll be stitching all the way down. It's a bit windy, so let me just go ahead to close the windows, and okay, so this is better. So as you can see at that half-inch point, I'm just going, this is where my first channel is going to be. Remember I said that please, this should be done in a fold. So guys, this area totally depends on you. So I went down by 3 inches all through. You can go by 2, by 1, anyone. It depends on how full you want that area to be. So guys, it's now time for me to measure how long I want this loop to be, and I want mine to just be an inch. So in a fold I have an inch, and when I open it up I have 2 inches. So I'll be cutting 2 inches all through. So this depends totally on you. So guys, I have cut 8 pieces because I have 8 inches mark here, and now I'll just be folding them, that is to form 1 inch in between the middle piece and also the 3.5 piece that we cut out earlier, and just make sure that they are both aligned at the lower part first before I'll start joining all the way up. So can you see how this first area is looking like? Looking really neat. So I advise that you join this from the bottom to the top area, and now just go ahead and do the same thing for the other side. So guys, this is what it's looking like. So we're basically done with the middle piece, and do well to make sure that these channels are aligned and are almost exactly the same. And now just be going ahead to add to stitch in that place that has that hip like curve in the same manner that we did with the first one. So now after stitching, this is what I have. So guys, this is what the front piece is looking like, and this is how it looks like as I've turned it to the back. Now for those of us who be using lining, this is the point whereby you add your lining, and maybe you can use it to turn up, or just basically add your lining from this point. So I'm gonna ahead to just fold my skirt in two in order for me to create my slope, and I'll just be trimming off all the threads. I'll just go down by half an inch. I'll just connect it all the way up. After trimming it, we're basically done with the front part. I'll just open it up, and now let's go and work on the back piece. So guys, this is what our back piece looks like. The only thing I've done here, it was to stitch my darts and also to fold the lower part. Now at this point, I'll just be subtracting my 2 inches for the band, and then taking where my zip is going to be, and I marked that a 7.5 inch there. And now I'll just be joining this side, and because I'm going to be folding it in to create an opening at that point there. I also went ahead to cut my 2 inch long waistband. After joining my waistband with half an inch to the skirt and also fixing my zip, I'll just go ahead to shape the skirt. So guys, after joining the front and back, this is what I have. Can you see the pencil-like effect already coming to play? And this is what the back of the skirt is also looking like, with the little slits that I can see there. Now the last thing for us to do is just go ahead to loop this up. So I have a bias and I bought 3 yards, but I noticed that 3 yards wasn't enough. So I advise that you get between 4 to 5 yards if you really want it to drape well. So after lacing up the both sides, this is what I have. Like I told you that that 3 yards wasn't enough, so I just had to just create this leaf-like shapes that you can see in order to complete the length. If you found this video helpful, don't forget to drop a like, subscribe, and also comment. I'll see you all in my next tutorial. Bye and have a beautiful day.